Sure.
Thank you, Senator Butler. Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judge Wise, you're not being honest with us, are you?
That is incorrect.
Well, we all may be poorer under President Biden, but we're not stupid. We have a long list of your articles and your opinions and your political statements. On March 8, 2017, you wrote an article for Time magazine while you were a sitting judge. It's entitled Judge, Gender Laws Are at Odds with Science. I'm going to quote your words. When legislators blur the lines of church and state and enact laws that permit or prohibit conduct based on biological gender as only male or female, they place an impossible burden on the judiciary. End quote. Did I read that accurately?
Welcome back to the Constitution Corner, where America's roots guide its future. If you believe in accountability, truth, and judges who respect the Constitution more than woke ideology, then hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because this is one of the most jaw-dropping hearings you'll ever witness. Today, we're breaking down Senator John Kennedy's interrogation of Judge Wise, a Biden judicial nominee whose past writings, activism, and affiliations raise more red flags than a Chinese military parade.
I do not know because I don't have the article in front of me.
Well, I do. You also said in that article, quote, your words, not mine, sex has countless natural permutations, end quote. Did I read that correctly?
I believe that is consistent with medical science and under the Daubert standard, the science that comes in as expert testimony in trials.
On October 13, 2020, while you were serving as a state judge, you wrote an article for The Atlantic entitled, quote, your words, not mine, America's judiciary doesn't look like America. And you criticized this committee and President Trump for his judicial nominees. You said, quote, these are your words, not mine. The judiciary crafted over the past 4 years does not look like America. Not one of these judges is black, and more than 90% were raised or currently identify as Christians. I don't know how you knew that. And then you say, quote, your words, not mine. Identity is the lens that filters everything and everyone we encounter, end quote. Did I read that correctly?
Again, I don't know because I don't have the article in front of me.
I do. I got it right here. You wrote another article on July 31, 2020 for the San Francisco Daily Journal, in which you advocate for the right of sitting judges to be able to go to protests, didn't you?
That is incorrect.
No, it's not. I'm looking at it right here. This is what you say. No judge should be ethical. Your words, not mine. You just said you didn't say them. You turned these articles over. No judge should be ethically constrained from speaking or taking action that reinforces that constitutional and moral imperative. May judges participate in demonstrations that denounce racism, support equal justice, and reinforce our constitutional rights to free speech and peaceable assembly? Yes. End quote. Did I read that correctly?
I don't know because I don't have the article in front of me.
If you're a federal judge, are you going to go to protests?
I would like to answer the substance of the underlying question that was asked.
I'd like you to answer my question. I've only got another minute or so. If you're a federal, let me put it another way. Have you ever gone to a protest, a public protest, while you're a sitting judge?
Senator Kennedy, the article that you are referring to
Have you ever
was
gone to a
written-
protest while you're a sitting judge?
I do not believe that I have ever attended a protest as a sitting judge, or perhaps ever in my life.
And you talk about Girls Inc. You say you've never heard of them. You were on the, or you don't know that much about them. You were on the board from 2014 to 2024. You're still on their board, aren't you?
I'm not. My term expired this last month.
And you've given them over $50,000, haven't you?
I do not believe that is correct.
That's what your report says. And this is the same Girls Inc. that says, quote, on its website, here's how they define girls. Quote, girls refers to gender expansive youth, cis girls, trans girls, non-binary youth, gender and non-conforming youth, genderqueer youth, and any girl-identified youth. Did I read that correctly?
I don't know. I've never heard of that policy or that definition
You
from
never heard
Girls
of it.
Inc.
Listen, in spite of your, can I just have 30 more seconds? In spite of your strongly held political beliefs, and we've got all of them, all your articles, they're as long as King Kong's are you telling us today, do you believe that you will not allow your strongly held political beliefs to influence your judicial opinions? Do you believe that?
The best evidence of the type of federal judge I will be,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
type of
Do you believe
judge,
that? Do you believe that?
is the type of judge I have been for 10 years, who is one who always puts the law above my personal.
Do you also believe in Bigfoot? Do you believe in the tooth fairy?
Your time has expired, Senator.
Do you believe Jimmy Hoffa died of natural causes?
Senator Hirono.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Let's start with this. Senator Kennedy didn't come to play games. He came with receipts. Page after page of Judge Wise's own words, published articles, and affiliations were laid out on the table. And what did we get in response? Denials, deflections, a whole lot of "I don't recall" and "I don't have the article in front of me." Really? This is someone seeking a lifetime appointment to the federal bench. A person who's written for Time Magazine, The Atlantic, and the San Francisco Daily Journal can't remember their own words? Kennedy quoted her 2017 Time article where she claimed laws based on biological sex create an impossible burden on the judiciary. Let's translate that. Judge Wise thinks recognizing only male and female in law is oppressive. That's the kind of activist thinking that doesn't belong in a courtroom. It belongs in a faculty lounge or a left-wing protest. She also wrote that sex has countless natural permutations. Countless? Since when did settled science become an open-ended identity buffet? This is ideology disguised as fact, and Kennedy was right to call it out. Then came the Atlantic article. Wise accused the Trump administration and this very Senate Judiciary Committee of crafting a judiciary that does not look like America. She obsessively focused on race and religion, claiming that identity filters everything and everyone we encounter. Again, this is not the language of a judge. It's the language of an activist who sees the Constitution as a tool to advance a social justice agenda. Kennedy pressed her hard. Do you stand by these radical views? Do you believe you can set aside your ideology and rule fairly? Her answers were vague and rehearsed. She couldn't even recall whether she's ever attended a protest, despite writing an article defending the right of sitting judges to protest while on the bench. Let's pause there. The American people want judges, not activists. Protesters belong in the streets, not in black robes behind the bench. When Kennedy asked her directly if she ever attended protests while serving as a judge, she stammered through it and claimed she doesn't think she ever did. That's not an answer, it's evasion. Then came the truth bomb, Girls Inc. Judge Wise served on the board of Girls Incorporated from 2014 to 2024 and, according to public disclosures, donated over $50,000 to the organization. She claimed ignorance about the group's radical gender ideology, but Kennedy read it aloud from their website. Girls refers to gender-expansive youth, cis girls, trans girls, non-binary youth. You get the point. She either didn't do her due diligence or didn't want to admit the truth. Either way, that's not someone we can trust with the law. And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, Kennedy drove the final nail. Do you also believe in Bigfoot? The Tooth Fairy? Did Jimmy Hoffa die of natural causes? He said what every patriot watching was already thinking. If someone can't remember their own radical record, how can we expect them to judge fairly? Let's be clear, patriots. This isn't just about Judge Wise. It's about a pattern. The Biden administration continues to nominate radicals to the federal bench, people more committed to identity politics and progressive activism than to the rule of law. This is a coordinated effort to reshape the judiciary into a tool of the radical left. And we at the Constitution Corner say no. The American people deserve judges who follow the law, not feelings. Who respect the Constitution, not reimagine it. Who see justice as blind, not intersectional. So here's what you can do right now. Share this video. Call your senators. Demand they vote no on activists in robes. Comment below what you think about Judge Wise's performance. And hit that subscribe button because we're going to keep exposing the truth no matter how uncomfortable it gets. We are the Constitution Corner, where Americans' root guides its future. Until next time, stand strong, speak truth, and may God bless the United States of America.